What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA, and man, WDW Pro and Valiant Renegade have done it again. They got me making a video about one of their rumors, and they always have these little rumors that are coming out, but they make a lot of sense, and they're so interesting to look at and discuss. Let's go ahead and look at this one. Bounding in the comics makes note of that. James Gunn's DCU Slate, rumored to be bait for a potential buyer, allegedly has a secret plan in case Apple, Amazon, or Universal gobble up Warner Brothers. Yeah, like the last time these cats came out with a rumor, I did that, I covered that. That was about the whole return of Rey as a character. I'll go ahead and link that up if you haven't seen that. Rey coming back to Star Wars. They had a rumor about that. I 100% believe that rumor as well. Now we've got another one. This rumor I'm kind of 50-50 on, okay? Because they actually discussed part of this rumor on a previous one, and I made a previous video on that, and I'll touch on that in a bit. But I can actually see some possibilities, but then I can kind of say, I don't think that's really where it's going to go. But let's go ahead and check this out, of course, bounding into comics. The latest rumor coming out of Warner Media claims that much of James Gunn's recently announced plans for the DCU might not even come to fruition, as the whole thing is a gambit in order to better attract a buyer such as Amazon or Apple. Not only that, but Gunn apparently has a secret slate planned in case the company does indeed get bought up. This rumor comes from YouTuber WDW Pro, who claims to have received information from a Warner Media employee. And this is the video right here. I'm just going to play a little bit of it so you guys can hear what they got to say.
Warner Brothers Discovery's strategy with both DC and Harry Potter is to soft reboot the franchises in order to make them seem more viable and healthy. However, rebooting them with projects that are highly interconnected and or episodic in chronological consistency is not desired at this time. The reason might surprise you. Warner Brothers Discovery allegedly expects to be purchased in the next 3 to 5 years. Therefore, it is not in Warner Brothers Discovery's interest to craft huge franchise worlds like seen in the MCU, because such a thing would make a potential buyer beholden to this new roadmap/story narrative.
And then he finished up, instead, Warner Brothers Discovery allegedly feels the more lucrative option is to rejuvenate the franchises with non-connected properties while still unloading bad inventory, so that when a company like Apple or Amazon, when they purchase them potentially, they get the benefits of a refreshed franchise plus the ability to craft their new cinematic universe in whatever way they choose. Now look, this isn't completely crazy, okay? And it actually could make some sense. Like I said, they actually discussed part one of it before when they were talking about Harry Potter, okay? And it kind of mentions it right here. They want to sell off both DC and Harry Potter, soft reboot the franchises in order to make them more viable and healthy. And I did a video on that Harry Potter. I'll link that above if you guys didn't check that out. But I did a video on that. Zaslav is basically just kind of saying, look, we need to scrap all of the terrible ideas that are associated with this stuff, be it Fantastic Beasts and how to find them, or be all of this DC stuff that's just kind of not working the way that we need it to work. We need to get rid of all of that stuff, reboot everything, clean slate, right? Clean slate, and then start remaking material, showing the potential. Okay, hey, this is what you could be buying, right? Hey, Amazon, Apple, hey, check it out. This is what we got for you, you know, kind of doing that sort of thing. And the goal is, of course, to sell them off to Amazon or Apple and make a ton of money, and, you know, maybe do it as a package deal or whatever. Universal is also possibly in the mix, and we'll get to that. But, you know, that absolutely makes a lot of sense. I think that, yeah, they could be absolutely doing that. After analysis on this alleged information from fellow YouTubers Valiant Renegade and former head of television comedy at CBC Television, Paul Chato, WDW Pro provided more details. He said, on top of that, having James Gunn sitting on top of DC is seen as a lure for those companies to offer more. Apple or Amazon or Universal would get a reinvigorated franchise with a mostly clean slate and a proven superhero director ready to rock. Furthermore, Gunn may have already been brought into the fold with this as the plan all along. He relayed, have fun with scrappy passion projects in the short term and then go crazy with huge movies once an Apple or an Amazon budget comes spraying cash everywhere. Yeah, see, like this part about the scrappy passion projects, that's exactly what that slate looks like, don't it? It looked like a bunch of scrappy passion projects instead of something that you would start everything off. You've heard me say it. Like, the words I use to describe this chapter 1 Gods and Monsters is lackluster and nothing burger. That's how I've described it, because that's how it feels to me, right? Because, you know, that's the only way I can describe. As a matter of fact, let's just take a look at it so you can. Yeah, this is the DC slate, right? You know, this is the stuff that's coming out, you know, this year. Shazam, Flash, then was supposedly a universe reset, and then Blue Beetle and Aquaman, and then all the James Gunn stuff is right here in the middle, and then down here at the bottom is like the DC Elseworld stuff that's not connected to this stuff. But yeah, you know, you got like Paradise Lost. Like, is anybody really checking for Paradise Lost? The Authority, who's checking for this? Who asked for this? This isn't the stuff people were asking for, James Gunn. That's how I felt, right? Like Batman with Damian Wayne, like, oh, that's my favorite Robin. Like, yeah, he's like 4 or 5 on most people's list in terms of Robins. So it's just kind of a weird look. Like Booster Gold. I mean, I like Booster Gold, don't get it twisted, but it's not something I consider part of your phase 1. That's like phase 2, phase 3. You know, that's down the line. That's not what you starting with, right? But these are like scrappy projects, the Authority and all that stuff. Now, Waller was already in the mix. And so I don't have a problem with him throwing that in there, because I believe they even announced that they were doing a Waller series sometime like May of June of 2022. So, okay. Creature Commandos, it's like, look, Creature Commandos is animated, okay? James Gunn's writing all the scripts, all right? You know, you're talking about maybe, 22 minutes an episode. That's what most animated series do. And then you just kind of knock that thing right on out, right? You know, you get your voice actors, you get some animators, okay? It's not a big budget, all right? You could probably knock that thing out in a year, 16 episodes, you're done, okay? So that made sense. Like, okay, I'm happy about the Lanterns. I wanted Lanterns. I've been wanting that. Swamp Thing as well. But like overall, like, and then of course Superman, I'm a Superman guy, so Superman I'm always going to have an interest in. But the rest of this stuff is just like, it's a nothing burger. He then notes, according to the sources of Warner Brothers Discovery, the later projects in this recent phase, one reveal of DC may not even happen, and that might be okay as part of the bigger picture. Yeah, so like if these later projects, like whatever he has at the very beginning, that's coming out, Waller, Creature Commandos, Superman Legacy, definitely, probably they would slide Batman, in my opinion, slide Batman right behind that, get that one going. Then you got your DCU, Superman and Batman already launched. All right. But all of the rest of this stuff, they could just easily say, oh, they'll wordsmith it around, right? Spin it. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, we combined these two projects into one project, but they were all still part of that 8-year plan. We're just going to kind of move them around, maneuver them here and there. This person will be a part of this. We're going to put Booster Gold over there in the Swamp Thing. I don't know how they're going to do it, but you know what I'm saying? Basically, that's what they would have did, and that can still release additional details for other projects down the line, because remember, they said this isn't everything in Chapter 1, okay? We have more to come. So they could easily announce a new project and say they're just combining one project with the next or whatever, and they'll say, oh yeah, that was always part of the plan. You know what I'm saying? But if this is what they're trying to do, right? If they're trying to get DC to be seen as a lure for those companies to start paying out the big bucks, Apple, Amazon, and Universal, right? To give them this big franchise that they could just make a ton of money off of, all right? It makes sense again why they cancel something like Batgirl, because they are very, very protective of the brand. If you guys remember, this is the article when David Zaslav just basically cut Batgirl off and saying, yeah, we're not going to put out a movie unless we believe in it, right? This is back in August, okay? And let's just read real quick. I want to show you guys this one piece. Zaslav mentioned quality repeatedly when discussing DC, strongly implying that Batgirl was not up to a standard that he believes is necessary for adaptations of the wider comic book property. The objective is to grow the DC brand, to grow the DC characters, he said. But also our job is to protect the DC brand. And that's what we're going to do. You see, it's about these 4 words: protect the DC brand, okay? That's what they did with Batgirl when they said, we're done with Batgirl. And that's what they're doing with all of these DC flips right now, okay? With James Gunn coming in, shaking everything up, all right? This is about protecting the brand so that they can make this thing shine like a diamond when it's time to sell it. You know what I mean? That's basically what they're doing here. It's kind of like flipping a house, right? If you flip a house, you buy a property, and then you go in, you find all of the stuff that's wrong with it, okay? You bring in people to analyze it, surveyors or whatever. You get somebody to fix the lawn, okay? We got to get the backyard fence fixed. We got to get the roof fixed. There's a leak up here, okay? We got to get all of this stuff fixed up. And then we can flip it for a profit. Basically, that's what they're doing. They're flipping DC and Harry Potter, for that matter, for a profit, okay? That's the reason why Discovery bought Warner Brothers, because they saw the potential and said, hey, we can fix this, fix that, get this thing shining, and then we'll flip it around and we'll make some money. After more analysis from Cheto and Valiant Renegade, WDW Pro provided more information, claiming that Universal might be in play to try to purchase the company as well. Another tidbit of info: while you might think Apple and Amazon are the only ones interested in buying Warner, Universal is attempting a play. They have a relationship with the Potter people and they want to leverage it in an attempt. Yeah, Universal is definitely going to be in the mix. You know, they already have, you know, Harry Potter World at Universal Studios. And so they're definitely, you know, interested in probably bringing this franchise in and saying, okay, then we can control it 100% and do whatever we want to do with it. So they might be trying to dangle DC in there and say, hey, why don't y'all grab DC while you at it, you know? I mean, that might be a thing that they're trying to do. I think even the movies right now are streaming on Peacock. So yeah, Universal will definitely have a strong interest in possibly picking up Harry Potter. And then if they say, hey, it's a package deal, take them both, you know, they might say, all right, let's go ahead and get DC, and they can add some more money to the mix. That would be a smart move if Warner Brothers did that. And it says, next he reveals his source informed. And now this is the part I don't believe necessarily, or I'm kind of 50-50 on. He reveals his source informed him that the plan James Gunn revealed for his DCU slate is merely plan A, and there could be other plans in the works. I'm told that Gunn, Zaslav, and Safran, they have a plan A DC roadmap. Everybody remember that terminology. Plan A DC roadmap that only goes into effect if Apple or Amazon buy and approve, though it could be used in negotiations to show it's primed. It's unaffordable for Warner Brothers with its current situation, but an Apple or an Amazon could fund it. By the way, all of this is the reason I'm told Cavill was let go. He concluded they're in a hold until the big guns bring big money to the table. So yeah, they're saying they got rid of Henry Cavill for this because, and he explains it right here, because Cheto asked, well, if they get the money, then they bring Cavill back in. He said, I don't think so. It's too far off. I think what they're saying right now is there's no need for him to sit there waiting. They need to go ahead and rip that Band-Aid off. This is going to be a years-long process. Yeah, it's going to take like 4 or 5 years to do what it is that they're trying to do. So I don't think there's any chance in the world that Henry Cavill would hang around that long waiting to play Superman. Go on, Henry, get out of here. Go make your Warhammer, do whatever. But yeah, it's going to be a minute before we can get back to you. And then they could just reboot this with another Superman anyway. He elaborated, but there is a huge, like James Gunn, if he can get the budget, he's already got it planned out. He and Safran and Zaslav, this is what it would look like. And it seems to me that plan A, hey, if we had the ability to do $300 million budgets or whatever per movie, this is what it would look like. It sounds like that's in place and ready once they begin to have attempts to purchase Warner. Yeah, I wouldn't think this is a selling point. Like, oh yeah, if you guys want to throw $300 million at a movie, you know, we got the movie for you. You know, it's like, hold up, you know, like to me, that's not really the strength of James Gunn anyway, right? Like making these $300 million budget films, like, you know, like James Gunn started out as an independent filmmaker, you know, Trauma, you guys remember him from that era. I think even the movie he did before Guardians of the Galaxy, right, was like, you know, a $2 million budget. Like he's not that guy, right? He's a, you know, a traditional filmmaker in the sense that he's a writer, he's a director, he has his own vision for things, okay? So I don't think that's his move, you know? He doesn't seem like the guy that you go out if you're trying to make a $300 million budget. That's where you go and get Spielberg or somebody like that. Gunn's going to keep these budgets tight, you know, in my opinion. He was a small budget, independent-minded filmmaker when he started, and that's kind of the value of James Gunn. Anyway, he knows the material well, number one, but then number two, he can carve out an entertaining film without necessarily breaking the bank, you know, costing you an arm and a leg so you could crack out some $300 million budget. That's what Marvel's doing right now, and I think that's what's killing Marvel at the moment, right? Because every movie that they make has to, like, it's like blockbuster or bust, right? Every movie they make has to it got to be a home run, you know, $800-900 million. And that still might just be to break even, you know. I think like Black Panther, if I'm not mistaken, Black Panther has made over $800 million and it's still questionable as if it broke even because of the amount of marketing and everything that they did with the marketing, and it's still questionable if it broke even. It's just absolutely insane. Like, what is Marvel doing over there, right? I don't think James Gunn wants to go down that road. Like, you make some little small spectacle film like an Ant-Man. It's like, shit, if this thing don't make $800 million, we losing money. I don't think you want to do that. Lending credence to this rumor are Gunn's own comments when he announced his DC Slate, and it kind of goes over the whole thing. And this is the part where I was saying, like, yeah, he's saying it's a part of the first chapter, but it's not the entire first chapter. So basically they're saying, yeah, there's another like slate, like a secret slate that we could drop in here if you guys want to buy it and make it. But I don't think that's a selling point, at least not to me, because that's like, whoa, that's going to cost us money. You want us to buy this studio, but at the same time, you guys are dreaming up all of these big, huge $300 million that thing's going to have to make $1 billion to break even. No thanks. No thanks. You know, at least that's how I look at it. But yeah, I think most of these ideas of James Gunn, at least at the very beginning, he could definitely get these things done. They got to start going back to the $100 million film, in my opinion. And the writer here, he kind of disagrees as well. He says, however, the idea DC is trying to create disconnected programs, as the rumor claims, appears to fly in the face of Gunn's announcement, as he made it crystal clear he's trying to connect movies, TV, animation, and video games. Yeah, if you're trying to connect all of these things, if you're trying to connect all of this mess, you know, into one thing, and you want people that have the same voice, like, yeah, if this guy has to be the actor of this Creature Commandos, for instance, he's going to be, and if he pops up in like The Authority or Supergirl, it's going to be the same actor with that did the voice and all of that kind of stuff. He wants to interconnect it that hard. And if there's a video game that's made out of all of this stuff, it's going to be the exact same thing. I get what he's trying to do. And again, that makes a lot of sense if you're especially trying to sell the studio to somebody. Hey, this thing is super interconnected. You're going to have access to make video games. You're going to have access to all of these various television programs. So we got the whole thing cracked up. Okay. All you got to do is just buy this thing as it is. It sounds great. Okay. But I don't think that James Gunn would go hardcore. That's my only thing. I don't think he would go hardcore with big, huge budget films, at least not right away. You know, maybe down the line, chapter 2, chapter 3, if the chapter 1 is successful, then maybe down the line, he's going to add some people. I'm wondering where the new gods fit in all of this. Cause when I hear gods and monsters, I think new gods. Okay. Darkseid, Orion, Mr. Miracle. What are we doing about that stuff? That's what I'm interested in. Calabac, Graven. I want to see all of these guys make an appearance, okay, in this universe. Granny Goodness. Where's Granny Goodness at? Are we getting some Granny Goodness there, Mr. Gunn? We got to get all of these cats up in here. They had Steppenwolf. The Steppenwolf to me was... he was okay. You know, I'm not going to get mad at Zach for that. I thought he was fine. But anyway, folks, what do you think about this rumor and how they're trying to say that this entire DC slate probably is going to get jumbled up or probably isn't what we think it is? You know, is this thing really going to take off and, you know, make it possible for Warner Brothers to sell this to Universal, Apple, and Amazon, you know, as they're trying to clean it up? You know, are they going to try to, you know, pair it up with Harry Potter? Is that an option? You know, get down in the comments. Give me your thoughts and opinions on what you think about that. And thanks for watching. See you next time.